It's a real privilege to stand before you today, class of 2026. Thank you to President Dwayne Fraser, the Board of Trustees, the faculty for this honorable invitation, and for everything you have done to bring these students to this moment. I have been truly impressed by the caliber and quality of students graduating from this institution today. Every person in this room receiving a degree today has had to push through something. The circumstances may be different, but the effort is real. Your class valedictorian lost both parents during her time here, yet she's graduating summa cum laude. Some of you can relate because you faced challenges that were visible, and others among you carried things that nobody around you could see. Some of you had responsibilities outside your studies that made this journey harder than it should have been. Some of you questioned whether you belonged here at all, but you chose to stay anyway. But you did not arrive here by accident. You kept making the decision to continue when stopping would have been easier. That is the thing that you should hold on to when this day is over and the ordinary demands of life come back. The world beyond this room will not always recognize what it took for you to get here. You will hand over your CV and it will be reduced to one line. You will share an idea and watch it travel further in someone else's voice. You will find yourself in spaces where you're underestimated by people who have not taken the time to understand you. When that happens, do not internalize it. Do not let someone else's limited imagination become your limit. Your degree is only the first rung on the ladder you will climb in your lifetime. It does not fix everything. But what it represents is the proof that you can stay with something difficult long enough to find your way through it. That does not expire. Now, there are 12 women in this room I want to speak to directly. They are among the hundreds of Chibok girls who were abducted from their dormitories in 2014, and they are graduating today. I believe that deserves a round of applause. In May 2017, I stood in a room at the presidency in Aso Rock, and I hugged some of them. I had spent years covering their story as a journalist. The year before, I had obtained a vital proof of life video that showed that these young women were still alive at a time when the world had started to forget about them. I would later learn that the video helped to kickstart negotiation talks that led to the eventual release of some of them. At the time, we did not know if the work we were doing would make any difference. We did it because the alternative was silence, and silence felt like complicity. After the initial coverage, the story began to fade from the world's imagination. The news cycle moved on the way it always does. There were moments I wondered whether continuing to push the story mattered at all. Standing here today is answer to that question and proof that the work we did mattered. When I walked into that room in Aso Rock back in May 2017, I met these girls. They were thin, painfully so, and they were wearing bright and bold Ankara outfits that had been quickly and lovingly sewn for them. The kind of clothes you give someone when you want them to feel seen again, when you want them to know that they matter. And they were smiling brightly, not politely, not for the cameras, but genuinely with their whole faces, in a way I was not prepared for and I have not forgotten since. I am a woman of faith, and there's a verse from the book of Psalms that I believe is fitting to this moment. When the Lord turned around the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. People who could not believe their own deliverance was real, who had waited so long in such darkness that when the morning came, they thought they were still asleep. That is what I saw in that room. Something more fragile and more extraordinary than relief. The slow recognition that this was real, that they were out from the Zambisa forest, that their nightmare was over. They were truly like those who dream. To the Chibok girls, you were taken from your hostel in the middle of night by people who believed that your education was a threat worth eliminating. They understood that education has power. What they failed to understand is that once that power takes root in a person, it cannot be removed by force. When I saw you after your return, what stayed with me was not what people often call resilience. It was something else. It was refusal. A refusal to be forgotten. A refusal to bend. Something that held its ground even under pressure that most of us will never be asked to bear. You held. And the psalm was right. You were like those who dream, delivered from a darkness so complete that standing in daylight must have felt impossible to trust. And now you're here with degrees in your hands and your lives ahead of you in a moment that was specifically designed never to happen. You are not merely survivors of a story, you are authors of what comes next. And what you do from here will matter, not only for yourselves, but for other young girls who are watching to see what is possible. I hope you do not see this as a burden. Carry it as a form of power that belongs entirely to you. To everyone in this room, I want to close with this. Look around you. These are your people. Your journeys may not be the same, but you made the same decision to stay, to push through, to finish, more importantly. You share a way of thinking, of approaching difficulty, the knowledge that you have already done something hard and found your way through it. That stays with you. It is the thing you will reach for in the hard moments that lie ahead, and it will be there. I have spent my career in rooms where stories shape decisions and decisions shape lives. I chose journalism because I believed that the right story told to the right people at the right moment could change what happens next. And I still believe that. But I once believed the power was only in telling the story. Now I believe the greater power is in living it forward. That is what I watched happen in this room today. You're living it